Welcome to The Short Score, your weekly update of roping news from around the industry, where you can find the latest on the sport from the pro rodeo ranks to the jackpot world. I'm Taylor Vollen, and I'm your host. Hey there, ropers. It's your host, Taylor Vollen. Welcome back to another episode of The Short Score. You guys already know the drill. It's Saturday, so I'm bringing you another bonus Ropin.com tips episode. And of course, we are still sticking with our Jake and Clay series. We have so many good insights from them for y'all, which you can always go and watch at Ropin.com. Go ahead and sign up today if you haven't already yet. We all already know that Jake Barnes and Clay O'Brien Cooper are master analyzers of the sport of team roping. But why do they like to break things down so much, and how do they best analyze each run? On this episode of The Short Score, Jake and Clay talk about why and how they break things down so much. This episode is brought to you by Nutramax. Cosequin ASU joint and hoof pellets contain quality ingredients to support joint and hoof health and leave out the fillers, molasses, and alfalfa, all while delivering the taste horses love. The colors of our ingredients shine through for a difference you can see. Visit cosequinequine.com.
Oh, that starts from early on. That's where kind of the relationship between Alan and I. Alan is he loves to break it down, just every little aspect of healing. And even as far as the analyzation of the run from a team aspect, and what a header does, and how they turn the steer, and how they handle them, and what shots they take. And I mean, you can talk for days with a guy like Al Bach. So I like talking with anybody that'll sit down and visit and break it down. So yeah, I enjoy the young guys that would come up to me when I was still rodeo, and they felt comfortable enough to just come up and then open up a topic, or open up, hey, what do you think about this or that? And then that usually leads into something else, and then there's a back and forth and exchange. And a lot of times, not only do I enjoy it, but I get something out of it. I get their perspective, because I'll ask them questions. Well, what do you think about it? I mean, you're a great roper. You can heal them. You got it figured out. What do you think? And so those different perspectives, to me, are priceless. Of hearing someone's interpretation of something you've studied forever. I mean, sometimes you get some real wild, outlandish kind of stuff, but it means something and then there's times just like with Jade, you brought him up specifically, I would really store away in my memory bank different things that he would say, because I wouldn't hear people say things that he would say. So to me, it was like, whoa, he's got a different perspective on what he's doing. But then as time has went on, 10 years ago, I've run across a few things that I'm doing or messing with or experimenting with, and like, oh, that's what he meant. That's what he was saying. And so that happens to me all the time about different people and what they've said. Is I can remember the phrase or the wording. I didn't know what it meant then, but then eventually, a lot of times, oh, that's what he meant.
I don't know that headers just don't do that, or what. The difference between heading and healing, I mean, it's just two different animals. And in my opinion, healing is twice as hard as heading. As a header, there's just there's a lot more things that you got to do. Detail stuff of, being able to ride that barrier, having a horse that scores good and hit that barrier, have your rope going and be able to stick it on them as fast as you can. But, I think that the hardest thing in heading is that doggone horse. I mean, that son of a gun's got to score, and he's got to run, and he's got to pull, and he's got to face. The part about putting the rope around the horns, I mean, it seems pretty simple, but like in the heeling side, man, being able to ride that corner and having because heading, there's difference between rodeo roping and average roping, so obviously, when you're average roping, you're going to take the time to try to set the run up and handle a steer a little bit softer and give the heeler a better go. Rodeo roping, that doggone head horse can feel that you're going to throw and will try to get ahead of you. And a lot of times when you throw and he's already leaving, you got to hurry to the horn. And so you're going to get a hard corner and maybe splatter the steer. And so, as far as I kind of got my own perspective of what I'm trying to do with my rope, and I've just roped that dummy, for so long that roping the horns isn't really my problem. It's just that doggone horse is the main factor in that deal. And one of the things that really, and I didn't really talk to him about it, I just saw what Charles Pogue did. I tried trying to change my style of roping because I was really envious of Charles. The way that he roped, he was a good horn roper. He scored really well, but man, that doggone head horse was just so phenomenal. He could just run up there and stick it on him. And when he was roping with Stevie Northcott, he was just like, golly, they were stealing. And I was like, man, I want to rope like that, where it always seemed like my horses always want to be quick and always having to change horses. And man, I wanted to change the course of my roping and rope like Charles, because, like Clay said, the roping had changed. There was a lot of two-headers, to where it wasn't like he was trying to win every go-round. Generally, if you drew decent, you could place in the go-round, or if you had a steer that run hard, you could go knock him down. And even if you knock two steers down, you was going to get good money. And I wanted to be like Charles. So I tried to change my style of roping kind of towards him. And there was I never did do that well at the BFIs and the stuff, because my horses always wanted to be too quick. And so I tried to pattern myself a little bit after. I wanted to be able to still rope fast, but be more of an average roper too. So that's a guy that I looked up to. And then Bobby Hurley. Bobby Hurley had a really good horse too. And man, it was just, golly, scored good and run hard. They didn't have to reach all the time.